This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com, and this is my weekly review of the points I find interesting in Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer. There's a lot more to the Observer that I don't find interesting, but I know some of you will. So pick it up yourself if you want to know all the details, but I'll start with the WWE news. Carly Colon, has apparently re-signed with the company. He was with the company from 2003 to 2010, getting a major push various times, feuding with Cena, holding the U.S. title, Intercontinental title, and tag team titles twice with his brother Primo, aka Eddie Colon, who I feuded with in Puerto Rico. Carlito was released in 2010 for apparently refusing to go to rehab, according to Meltzer, and was brought back several times since, including the 2021 Royal Rumble, Raw the next day, and the Puerto Rico Backlash pay-per-view this year, where he got the biggest pop of the night, which Meltzer said likely led him to getting re-signed. He's 44 years old now. He did pull out of the Great North Wrestling July 15th event in Smith Falls due to getting re-signed. He told Jack Kilby he would be in breach of contract. We do have a replacement for Carlito that has held WWE titles and is still in his prime and is going to be a very suitable replacement. And Jack Kilby is going to formally announce that this weekend. And of course, also on that card is Vipress, Bloodhunter, and Nunzio, among others. WWE's media rights deal is up. It ends at 2024, so they're negotiating for the next media rights deal now. Apparently, unless they get over 705 million, it will probably hurt the stock price. Disney is interested in it, but likely rather than being on ESPN, they'd be on FX. It's notable that Disney has a deal with UFC, who now owns WWE, which, by the way, according to Kevin Nash, WWE royalties have already gone down since UFC has taken over. CBS has shown no interest in WWE. Amazon Prime, Apple, and Warner Brothers Media, that currently has AEW content, are all interested. Apparently, Warner Brothers Media does not have an exclusive deal with AEW, although AEW has an exclusive deal with Warner Brothers. And their deal, AEW's deal, likely ends in 2024 unless it's been secretly extended. So Warner Brothers could technically air both programming, or they could drop AEW, which has been on a decline in ratings, and pick up WWE. Apparently, MLW has had their appeal granted related to their lawsuit against WWE. So that lawsuit is going to go forward. And this is claiming that WWE is responsible for their business doing bad. Let me just show you some figures here. This is over the past year, my YouTube numbers compared to some others. And you can see here that I even kick MLW's ass in views. And by the way, MLW's TV show was canceled. Most of the time, it wasn't even getting a 0.01 rating. But you can see here that NWA even does way better than MLW. So, and by the way, I also get the higher ratings than Ring of Honor, NWA, and GCW, which you never hear the end of, as well as Busted Open Radio, which I absolutely kicked their ass. But for some reason, they get all the big guests, I guess, because it's more famous people doing the actual interviews. But I'll be there eventually. Good morning to you, Joseph. All right, so let me continue. But my point of showing that is there's hardly any interest at all in MLW. I mean, they got Jacob Fatu, yes, great wrestler. Alex Hammerstone. I don't know if Davey Boy Smith Jr. is under contract or not, but it's been the same people forever, and the product is incredibly stale. Mike Piper's asleep right beside me here. She appeared in the Marty Jannetty interview yesterday that I put the link in the description, by the way. Very good interview, and he looks like he's sobering up. Apparently, WWE is looking to bring Drew McIntyre back for Money in the Bank July 1st. He's been off due to a death in the family. I mean, good for WWE letting wrestlers take that time off. I mean, most of us are lucky if we get one day of work off after someone dies. He's been off since WrestleMania. As far as Dwayne Johnson goes, Young Rock has officially been canceled. The XFL lost $60 million last year, but Johnson and his ex-wife Danny Garcia, who owns the XFL with him, says they have funding in place for 4 more seasons. I was just not interested at all in even covering the XFL this time around. I mean, it just is. I mean, I'm not really a football fan to begin with, but I just have no interest in the XFL. SmackDown from Des Moines last week had 6,100 paid. Raw from Wichita this week, where Blood Hunter famously wrestled Sandman, whose birthday was yesterday. He turned 60. Had 5,400 paid. For upcoming Canadian numbers, the Raw House Show in Ottawa has 2,600 pre-sold right now, which is far less than the last 2 events that they've had in Ottawa. The 20th show in Laval, Quebec, with hometown boy Sami Zayn is only at 3,500. By the way, Laval is pretty much Montreal. It's just a suburb of Montreal. They're going to the minor hockey arena there. Raw in Quebec City, Quebec, where they've never done a TV taping and have rarely gone, has 9,400 tickets sold. So WWE has never done a taping there, so they're guaranteed to do well. Trivia note, I promoted Canadians for Canada's first ever TNA tour. And on that tour, we went to the Colisée Pepsi in Quebec City. As far as AEW news, Dynamite from Washington this week had 4,500 paid. Tonight is the big Collision debut with CM Punk back in the mix. This will prove if he will be a game changer for the company or not. Meltzer says AEW has been on a decline lately. Of course, they have had success with their Wembley Stadium show, 66,000 tickets so far, but as far as television ratings and attendance in the U.S., it has been down. Meltzer says this could either be due to WWE's popularity right now, losing Punk, or less excitement around the brand itself. If it is because of losing Punk, we will see if him returning makes a big splash or not. I think losing Cody Rhodes was another big one. That was a big momentum changer. I recently watched a video back from like over 10 years ago of CM Punk giving a tour of his WWE tour bus. This guy is honestly one of the most spoiled wrestlers of all time and does nothing but whine. I really don't get why people like him so much. Meltzer brings up that Punk has a non-disclosure agreement with Kenny Omega, along with Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Ace Steel. They're all not allowed to talk about what happened as far as the backstage fight. But Adam Page is not part of that non-disclosure agreement, which is why Punk talked about Adam Page in his ESPN interview recently. Meltzer brings up that the third AEW show could hurt Dynamite numbers because of oversaturation of the product, and Rampage's ratings are already declining greatly. So it's, of course, they're going to hurt Rampage's number. He mentions that Rampage started off strong and then declined greatly. Attendance figures outside of the debut show in Chicago tonight haven't been impressive. Keep in mind the United Center holds about 20,000. They only have 8,500 pre-sale for Punk's hometown. Their show in Toronto the following week for Collision has 2,100 tickets sold. Hamilton the week after that has about 800 tickets out. In Regina, Saskatchewan the following week, where they haven't had wrestling TV taping since the early 90s, has 1,300 tickets sold. Calgary for AEW's debut in the market, 3,500, which is about half what the upcoming WWE taping in Calgary has. In the Newark market, 4,300 tickets out. Greenville, South Carolina, big wrestling city, 1,700. Greensboro, North Carolina, 2,600. Sorry, Greenville, South Carolina, 1,700. AEW producer BJ Whitmer, 45, has been fired. In MMA news, Conor McGregor, 34, who is one of the coaches on The Ultimate Fighter, which only did a 0.07 rating this week, has been accused of sexual assault. He was also accused recently of punching a mascot 2 times hard. The sexual assault apparently occurred in a men's bathroom at a Miami Heat NBA Finals game. Conor McGregor recently told TMZ he's not interested in appearing in WWE. UFC 289 in Vancouver, where Amanda Nunes scored a dominant win over Irene Aldana. The prelims did a 0.27 rating. It had 17,628 fans with a gate of almost 4 million. They've had 5 shows in Vancouver now. It's interesting. I don't think they've been to any city but Vancouver in Canada since the pandemic. Anyone that if I'm wrong, you guys can correct me in the comments, but I think that has to do with, since GSP, there hasn't really been any strong Canadians. Rory McDonald was somewhat strong, and by the way, I did train with Rory McDonald a little bit at TriStar. I was honored to do that, but yeah, GSP I think really hurt UFC's popularity in Canada. The PFL on ESPN June 8th did a 0.11 rating. George Masvidal says his highest fight pay was $5 million. Meltzer says that that's unlikely. He believes he's exaggerating that. The highest single match payoff in UFC history was the $8 million that Brock Lesnar got for his draw with Mark Hunt at UFC 200. What happened to Maria Davis or Carlos Ray? Oh, who knows? Maybe they've changed their names. Maybe they're dead. I don't really follow it. Greg Valentine interview I have coming up. Jack Kilby's got a bunch of interviews coming up soon. And again, Jack Kilby will announce probably today the replacement for the Great North Wrestling Smith Falls Showdown, July 15th in Smith Falls, Ontario. He hadn't announced who Carlito is going to wrestle. The only matches announced so far is Jessica Black against Persephone Vice and Blood Hunter against Nunzio. Jeremy Prophet, who, by the way, Jeremy Prophet had the first ever AEW match with Jessica Black in Toronto. It was an AEW dark mixed tag. So I would suspect that Jeremy Prophet and Jessica Black will probably be used as extras on the upcoming Canadian tapings, at least in Ontario, in Toronto, and Hamilton. I know Wavell Star told me he was asked to do some extra work for AEW and turn them down. Wavell used to do extra work in WWE back when I was doing it. Yes, I am doing the Greg Valentine interviews. Matt Bourne interview, yes, he's dead, but his Dark Side of the Ring is coming up this coming week. Dark Side of the Ring did a 0.06 rating this past week, by the way. Yes, Carlito is returning to WWE. That is directly from the horse's mouth. But as I said, the replacement that we have for the Great North Wrestling event, Smith Falls, is going to be a very good replacement. So wish everyone a great day. I also interviewed the gobbledygooker Hector Guerrero, Eddie Guerrero's brother, former NWA junior heavyweight champion, earlier this week. He really was avoiding the hard questions. He's very religious, but it was still a good interview as far as documenting his career. And he did say Pat Patterson was rude to him in WWE. That's about the only person he shot on. Anyways, guys, please give this video a like and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss